My name is Jennifer Campbell. I'm the consulting manager at Open Source Integrators. And I'm here today with Greg Mader, who is president of Open Source Integrators. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jen.
So today we're here to talk about a really fun customer that creates some exciting, unique, highly specialized, highly manufactured guitar equipment. And the reason they came to us in the first place was that they had tried to implement an open source ERP system on their own, but had some hiccups with it. It didn't go quite the way that they wanted it to. So they came to us because, in a nutshell, they needed the open source implementation done the right way. So Greg was really the first to interact and talk with this particular customer. So would you like to give us a little background on
Sure.
what they were needing and how we could help them?
I'd love to, Jen. Thank you. So this customer is based in Southern California. They are in the musical equipment business. And since it's Southern California, it is amplified guitars. And they are just about the funnest people ever. I really appreciate the friendship we have with them. They were growing exponentially with their products. It's the best in its market. As the founders told me, it's the Maserati of what they do, and they're very proud of it. And what they've really found with themselves was that they needed an ERP system to manage the manufacturing, the raw materials, the inventory, and the sales. They tried doing it themselves. They're industrious people. It's a bunch of engineers that are really smart, and they tried doing it themselves first. And they have real jobs, and it was hard for them to get it done. They then went to an outside company that represented themselves as experts, but fundamentally huge concepts of inventory and accounting and manufacturing just were not ever done correctly. And it was a mess. It was a drain on their growth. It was a drain on the resources, and the morale of the team was suffering because of this as well. They just wanted to make cool products and get them out there, and you know they have systems that are actually holding them back and not allowing them to be as productive as they wanted. So they contacted us and said, help, and it was about that simple.
Yeah.
So we went out there for a few days.
Just
Sure.
to step in for a sec, so this customer, I would say, and perhaps you'd agree, they were a great example to fit in our normal model of first analyzing their situation, then working to optimize their business processes, ultimately leading to a automation of software to support those, and then lastly the transition phase. So I think you were about, Greg,
Yes.
to dive into the analyze step. So this is, you know, what we like to do a lot of times is go on site with a customer, or they might come to our offices,
Sure.
and we'll spend a few days with them to get to know their business, as well as we start to introduce them a little bit to the software they're interested in. In this case, they already had the software, so you know, for them it was more learning about where things were maybe not working so well and how we could fine-tune it. So please proceed.
Cool, thank you. So yes, we did follow our normal process of analyze, optimize, automate, and transition. We started that analysis by me personally going on site for a few days at their location and learning about what their business goals were, learning how their actual business processes worked in inventory, accounting, manufacturing, engineering, even in this case. And from there, we could start to analyze as well what their current system was and where things were broken. And it was at that point we were able to put together a correction plan to be able to correct the problems and get the project on track. It didn't happen overnight. There was enough problems that it took us a number of weeks to be able to recover data and key business processes in the system and get them working correctly. We also took the opportunity to optimize certain business processes that needed it at that point. And there were some optimizations specifically around issuing inventory to manufacturing and the tracking. They use contract manufacturers, which is a common thing in electronics. And from there, we were able to make some adjustments and help them optimize those systems as well. There's certainly other business functions where it made a lot of sense just to say, let's use it out of the box. There's no real customization needed for any number of areas, and that was a nice way to say, let's save some money and just teach you how to use the software and use what's already available out of the box here. Automation actually was an interesting step. After this recovery phase, we were brought in to do further customization for some specific things around their business. We really needed to help them advance their e-commerce presence, and we started with something that was pretty low risk and simple at the beginning, but has made a pretty big difference in getting them off an obsolete platform. And we've also been doing automation around their customer records and CRM, and integrating a geospatial component in that so that we can do some analysis of where their customers are and help them identify more customers that really like and care about their product. Given that this was in a couple of stages, we've actually had several transition phases, which is interesting.
Right.
It often works that way, right?
Yes.
We'll roll out something small and do a transition and do the training and support to get a team up and running on that. And then we can do a second transition later as subsequent phases come on.
So would you say that the first transition, what kind of benefits did they get after that initial phase? What kind of things were we able to fix and do the right way so that they could really leverage their competitive advantage?
Sure. We were able to address a lot of very simple, basic accounting issues that had been holding them back before, so they could get closer to a true picture of what the value of their inventory was, what their sales revenue was, and also much better control of accounts payable, which had been an area that they definitely wanted to improve in. So that was a really quick thing we were able to do in the first phase. And then with the second phase, the results have been we've rolled out a fascinating system that really allows them to have very lean inventory, but create almost a make-to-order manufacturing system. So everything they make is on the shelf a very short amount of time and right out the door. The forecasting of and optimization of their manufacturing process, I think, has really been remarkable for them. And strangely enough, that came in part from the e-commerce project. We had better information
Right.
of who was buying and where they were at and what they needed, and we were able to more closely tailor what they needed, or what they were able to produce to what the customers wanted.
So ultimately, that the freedom and flexibility that moving to this open source software and having the correct, right, stable implementation gave them a foundation where they could really grow into these exploratory areas and start to leverage this data that already existed.
Yes.
But they didn't have a way to visualize it, to consume it, to use it for decision making. So it's a very, very powerful result that came from that initial step of stabilization and getting it done right, which then let them explore the opportunities.
That's exactly right. Because of their hard work and their great talent and their great products, and maybe a smidgen of help from us, they just finished up the best year they've ever had. They're really excited about that. They're excited about going into 2018. And we're really proud to be a partner of theirs, and we just think they're the greatest people.
Yeah,
So,
and on top of that, there's multiple new areas of growth, integration that are these new snippets of opportunity we can really leverage in the coming year, and we're really excited to be part of that.
Yeah.
We think there's a lot of growth there, so we'll probably have another webinar in a few months and explain all those new opportunities that have come to fruition. So, well, thank you, Greg. Really appreciate all the great info you shared, and thanks to the audience for joining us for our webinar today. Please remember to visit our website at opensourceintegrators.com, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
thank you.